Hey guys, this is Ratios Day 18. This is another Changing Ratios lesson. We really don't have anything new in this lesson today, but I wanted to do a video because changing ratios in general is just pretty tough, and so kind of just making sure that everybody has as much opportunity to grasp this concept as possible. Okay, so let's get into it. All right, we have our first word problem. At an art exhibition, the ratio of the number of adults to the number of children is 8:3. The ratio of the number of men to the number of women is 3:1. If there are 44 adults and children at the exhibition, how many more children than women were there? Oh, I need to take a big breath because there's so much information in this word problem. All right, I'm going to plan out a strategy here. So let's see, I've got the ratio of the number of adults to the number of children being 8:3. And then I've given some information that the ratio of the number of men to the number of women was 3:1. You know what I'm noticing about this problem is that there's nothing changing. This really isn't a changing ratios problem, is it? Then it just tells me that there are 44 adults and children, and I want to know how many more children than women are there. So let's just start with modeling this first portion. It says, okay, so ratio of number of adults to children is 8:3. Okay, so let's see here. So adults obviously is going to be both men and women. So that's critical in this problem. We're going to actually, I'm not going to model the second part here where it says the ratio of the number of men to the number of women was 3:1. I'm actually going to jump down here to this piece of information. Check this out. If there are 44 adults and children at the expedition, so that means I can assign that 44 to all of these units right here. How many more children than women were there? Okay, so hopefully you notice that this word right here is not women. I can't solve this problem yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve for children and adults. So let's see here. So I've got 11 units equals 44. That means one unit is 4 people. That means, and then you know what, I'm going to just jump up here and I'm going to solve, or I'm going to write some numbers in here. So that means 3 units, or the units that for children is 4 times 3, which equals 12. Okay, so I have 12 children. And I have, how many units of adults do I have? I have 8 units of adults. So that's 4 times 8, which equals 32. Okay, so I have 32 adults. Now, I haven't answered the question yet because my question is how many more children than women were there? Well, I don't know how many women there were yet, do I? So let me look back up in here in the word problem. It says that the ratio of the number of men to the number of women was 3:1. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and model that. So I have 3 units of men, 1 unit of women. Okay, so we know from what we just solved that all of the adults at the expedition were 32. So that means if I go ahead and solve this side, 4 units is 32, and 1 unit is 8. Oh, it's starting to come together now. Now I can see that, yes, actually, there were more children than women at this exhibition. Now I can answer my question. How many more children than women were there? And if we look back over here, we see that there were 12 children, and over here there are 8 women. So now we just need to find the difference. Difference is 4, and there were 4 more children than women at the art expedition. Okay, let's try another one. The ratio of the number of Anne's picture cards to the number of Wendy's picture cards was 7:8. After Wendy gave 8 picture cards to Anne, they each had the same number of picture cards. How many picture cards did they have altogether? Now, don't ask me what a picture card is. I don't know. I don't know what that came from. Maybe it's a baseball card or something. Okay, so let's see here. What's our before situation? We have Anne and Wendy. Anne's picture cards to Wendy's was 7 to 8, so that means Anne has 7. And Wendy has 8. Okay, and then Wendy gave 8 picture cards to Anne, and they each had the same number of picture cards. So Wendy's going to give some to Anne, and it doesn't tell me how many units Wendy gives to Anne. It doesn't tell me a new ratio, so I don't really have my after situation yet, but I know that both of their number of picture cards are changing because Wendy's going to take some from hers and she's going to give some to Anne. So since the difference in their units is only 1, I can't just take 1 unit away from Wendy and give it to Anne. I will need to take a half unit away. So I'm going to actually go ahead and do that. So if I take a half unit, now in the past, I've had you guys just find an equivalent ratio where you would double both of these numbers, so maybe have a ratio of like 14 to 16. But I really want to show you this way too so that you can become proficient at looking at these models and dealing with the fractions as well. Okay, so Wendy takes a half unit and she gives it to Anne, right? That's supposed to look like a half. So now she loses that and gains that. My word problem tells me that that half unit is 8 picture cards, right? So then they each had the same number of picture cards. Well, if that's a half unit, that means a whole unit is 16, and so on, right? So now let's just count. So if Anne has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units times 16, and Wendy has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units times 16, plus they both have a half a unit of 8, then that means between the two of them, they have 15 units. So 15 units times 16 cards. So let's say 1 unit is 16. And then 15 units is going to be 16 times 15. If we do that math over here, 5 times 6 is 30, 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8, 1 times 6 is 1, 1 times 1 is 1, and we finish that off. We get, oh, look at that, I wrote an 8 instead of a 0. Whoops. This should be a 0 right here. This should be a 4, and I've already got my 1 there, so I've got 240. So my answer is 240 picture cards. Okay. Okay, one more. Actually, we have a lot more, but all right. Roy and Alan share some stamps in the ratio of 4 to 5. 3/8 of Roy's stamps are Singapore stamps, and the rest are Australian stamps. If Roy has 8 more Australian stamps than Singapore stamps, how many stamps does Alan have? Yikes! Let's start with our ratio. Okay, so I have Roy, I have Alan. Roy has 4 units. Alan has 5. Three-eighths of Roy's stamps are Singapore stamps, and the rest are Australian stamps. What do I do with that? Well, right now Roy has 4 units on there, right? Can I just maybe subdivide that and call them eighths? Let's just do that. We're going to subdivide both of our ratios, right? Because we're not just going to subdivide one and not the other, or both parts of our ratio. Okay, now I have 3/8 that I can pick out. Let's see here. So I've got 3, 1, 2, 3. These are, I'm going to label those with an S. And let's see, and the rest are Australian stamps. So I'm going to label those with an A. And it says, if Roy has 8 more Australian stamps than Singapore stamps, how many stamps does Alan have? Okay, so how many more units of Australian stamps does Roy have? So if Roy has 3 units of Singapore stamps, so here's a little mini of Roy's. Roy has some Singapore stamps, he has Australian stamps. So now that we've subdivided his units, so he has 3 units of Singapore and he has 5 of Australian, right? Because 3/8 are Singapore and 5/8 are Australian. And it says that he has 2 more Australian stamps, or sorry, 8 more than Singapore stamps. So those extra 2 units are going to be 8 stamps. So that means 1 unit is going to be 4. So 1 unit is 4 stamps, right? Okay, now let's see here. It says we want to know how many stamps does Alan have. So Alan has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 units. If 1 unit equals 4, 10 units is 4 times 10, which equals 40 stamps. All right, let's do another one. Actually, for the next one, why don't you try to do it and then come back and check your work with the video. Okay, hopefully you have worked through this problem and you're ready to check it with me. Alvin's monthly income is $1,500. He spends part of this on food, rent, and transportation in the ratio of 1 to 5 to 3. If he spends $200 less on transportation than on rent, how much money does he have left after spending his money on these 3 items? Is this even a changing ratios problem? No, it's really not. It's just a ratio problem. So let's see. Okay, we've got food, we've got rent. Okay, so we've got food, rent, and transportation in the ratio of 1 to 5 to 3. Then it says if he spends $200 less on transportation than on rent, and let's just stop there and let's label these 2 units right here with $200 because those are the 2 units that he spends more on rent than transportation. So we want to know how much money he has left after spending his money. Well, let's first find out how much he spends. Okay, so if 2 units equals $200, 1 unit is going to equal $100, and Alvin is spending 9 units, which is going to be 9 times 100, which is going to equal $900. That's not my answer, though, is it? We want to know how much money does he have left after spending his money on these 3 things. Well, let's go back to the beginning of our word problem where it says his monthly income is $1,500. So if he starts with $1,500 and he spends $900, he is going to have, $600 left. Okay, go ahead and try this one also on your own and then come back and check your work. Okay, so this is a fun problem because it just involves several steps, but the key to this problem is looking at the first portion of it where it says Darren and Mick shared 96 marbles in the ratio of 5 to 3. So Darren and Mick have 96 marbles altogether. So first I needed to figure out how many each person had up here in my situation, my first situation, okay? And then it says Darren then shared his marbles with Henry in the ratio of 11 to 4. So then I go down here and I split Darren's 60 marbles up between himself and Henry and solve with unitary method, and it ends up being that Darren has 44 and Henry has 16. Then my third step in this problem was to, take those numbers and I figured out I solved for Mick and I solved for Henry. I find the difference. Henry had 20 fewer marbles. Okay, the last question on your notes is a bonus question, and so you guys should try to figure that out, and maybe you'll come to school tomorrow with an answer for me. All right, good night.